Hey guys! We'll give it a couple more minutes as we wait for people to sign on, but thank you for tuning in today. I'm so excited to see some familiar names pop up. Hey Gia, I miss you! Hello. So this is for pro cheer. It's kind of pro cheer and college dance team, just kind of giving a 411 on that and my experience. So if you're tuning in for that, that's great. You want to see what it's about? Hello. All right, so actually this is my first live stream, so bear with me as I kind of figure it out. If you have any trouble hearing me at any point, just let me know and I'll kind of try and figure things out. But I'm assuming we're good. If you could give me a thumbs up, maybe. Are we good? Okay. All right, okay, so let me just start off by saying that if you have any questions, try and save them for the end. I'm gonna kind of rattle off some information and then we'll kind of touch base on that at the end. But I'm kind of an open book, so if you have any questions, just let me know and then we'll go from there at the end. And then I'll say this again, too, once we're wrapping things up, but I am going to do a pro cheer combo tonight that will be posted on the Commercial Dance Intensive IGTV, and that will be a lot of fun. Even if you're not really sure what pro cheer is, it's not going to be too hard. It's going to be pretty short. It's a good cardio combo if you've taken it before. So if you need a little exercise, feel free to tune in for that later, but that's going to be at 8 p.m. So, so dance team, where to begin? There's so many things. So I guess I will start off by saying, I know a lot of you guys, have reached out to me, in regards to pro cheer and wanting to go along that journey sometime soon, or maybe you're thinking about it in the future. Maybe you're considering college dance team right now, but I just kind of wanted to, do a shout out for the people that are probably tuning in and they're not really sure if they're interested in that, not really sure what it's about. I just wanted to say that if you're anything like me and you were a traditionally trained dancer growing up, just never say never. I know that when I was younger, I did not think that I would ever audition to be a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. If you would have asked me in high school, actually I did get asked in high school if I was going to do it, and I was like, excuse me? No, I am traditionally trained. I'm going to do something more traditional and join a company or something along that side, that pathway. And I ended up being a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader. And I just think it's so cool. So just never say never. Learn about every single job that you can, because you just never know what kind of opportunities that's going to lead you to. So I guess I'll kind of share more in depth my experience to start. So basically, like I said, traditional dancer. I started at the age of 3, did the normal thing, the nutcrackers, all of that. I did 1 year of cheerleading in 8th grade, and then I went straight into dance team in high school, did that, was a captain there, and then I went to Appalachian State to be a dance major, and I didn't do dance team my first year. I joined my second year, and then was a captain there for 2 years. And I loved it. I mean, I was getting to my end of my senior year and I was crying and I just couldn't believe it was over, and I just was all about it. And I actually, fun fact, started to develop performance anxiety a little bit during my college years, and even a little bit in high school, but mostly in college. And so I think my career was mostly leaning towards trying to just be a dance teacher or choreographer, or just be on the other side of things. So when I told my mom that, hi mom, she was not that thrilled, because they were, obviously investing in all this money for me to be a dancer, and not necessarily transition to that so quickly. So she really kind of pushed me to do something more professional, as far as performance goes. So I just kind of thought about it. I looked up companies in LA, more on the East Coast, some were local. And I was actually in my college apartment room just scrolling through TV, and the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders making the team show came on. And I love that show. I'd watched it several times before, but I hadn't really thought about it too in depth. And I just kind of was thinking about my experience with dance team. And so I was like, I'm just going to do that. It's perfect. Win-win. So I remember calling my mom and not sure how she was going to react. And she was actually super supportive and was like, okay, great. Like, what are we going to do? I think that's a great fit. And mind you, this was February. Tryouts are in the beginning of May. So just slightly behind. But didn't really think anything of it. You know, I watched the show a lot, and, you know, I had dance team experience, and so I felt like I could maybe do it. And so I did everything you needed to do, got the outfit, signed up, did the registration, got my ticket, went down, auditioned while I was doing exams in college and during that weekend, and then came back, made it through the first 2 rounds, came back to school, finished my exams, graduated, and then flew back out the next week to do the 3rd round, where I'll talk more in depth about that later, and then made it through that, did training camp, and then made it my first try, which is, I think the older I get, the more I'm just so super grateful and humbled by that. And did that my rookie year, did it a second year, and it was incredible. And I think the reason why I'm saying that is because never in a million years, if you would have asked me even 15 years ago if I would have done that, I would have told you, you're crazy. That's not, I think you have the wrong person. But it really led me to some incredible experiences. I got to perform with Selena Gomez, Kenny Chesney, open up for One Republic. I got to leave the country for the first time, get a passport. I didn't even have one. Went to Mexico. I went to China. I went to South Korea, into Seoul, Canada. And that's why I really encourage people to just keep their options open, because you never know where life leads you, and why not, you know? So anyway, so that's kind of the backstory on me. If you have more questions about that, I might answer them as I go through some other information, but let's start from where it all began, which is high school. So if you have any interest in doing dance team in college or further on, if your school offers a high school dance team, I would highly recommend it. Even if the program doesn't seem too intense, it might be a little bit more flexible or, you know, relaxed. That's okay. Just kind of practicing dancing in front of peers or at a sporting event is huge. I think the camaraderie that goes along with that is amazing. Being a part of the school in that way just makes you just more involved. I think too, what's really cool is this shift of us being a solo dancer becomes more of a dance team setting. So learning how to dance in a group and not necessarily be a standout, but actually blending for the sake of how the group looks. Learning how to precision dance is important. All of that is really great and can take you into the next segment of life in your dance team career, which is usually college. So I think a lot of dance team coaches in college do look at that and see if you've had high school dance team experience. And that is not to say that if you don't have that opportunity that you're not going to be picked for a college dance team. That's not it at all. I think it just kind of gives you a leg up if you have that opportunity. So college dance teams. I get this question a lot about, well, where should I go? I can't answer that for you because every squad is so different. So my recommendation is to always look at the school. If you are doing something else for a degree in college, you need to look at that first, I will say, and then dance team second. If you're not going to pursue a career in dance necessarily, I would look at that. Or even if you are looking at dance as a career, school comes first. Are you guys there? Hopefully you're there. Okay. Give me a thumbs up if you can still hear me. That was weird. Maybe? Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Where was I? Yes, you're paying to go to school. Look at that first. Dance team second. Then from there, if you're having a hard time deciding and you want to do college dance team, let that kind of be the next avenue of your research. Every school is very different. Some focus more on lyrical and contemporary, some focus on jazz, some focus on hip hop. Look at the competitions they do, look at the requirements. Are you going to have to do 8 million volleyball games, or is it just football, or is it just basketball? All those things can really have an impact on what you want to do. So I would look into that. Pay attention to their requirements. If you don't feel comfortable with tumbling or doing some of the kip ups and all of that, maybe look for a different squad that you can join. I know some schools do require acro tricks on both sides, and that's something that will definitely hinder your chances of making the team if that is a requirement. I would recommend going to clinics if you are close to that university or you have the opportunity to fly there and check it out. Definitely do that. It does not hurt to be a familiar face at all. Even if you don't necessarily make a connection with the coach, just for them to see your face before tryouts could help you. I will also say, from coaches' feedback, if you are going into the college realm, it is important to start acting like an adult. So that means if you feel comfortable, maybe you start emailing the coaches if you have questions versus a parent. Some things maybe it's more appropriate for a parent to do it, but if you can do that, I think it just shows a lot about your maturity level and where you are as you enter that next realm and how you're going to be able to handle the commitment. And then I would also say be careful about how much you contact the coach. You don't want to overdo it, especially if the information's online. They will post or whatever they need when they actually have it, so try not to hound them too much. So just kind of finding that happy medium of showing them that you're mature, ready to take responsibility, and then also not being too over the top with your audition. So that I feel like is a good little segment on college. So let's transition into pro cheer. Kind of the same parallels as college dance team as far as picking a squad. That's another one I get a lot too is, well, what squad should I try out for? Should I try out for the one that's in my hometown? Should I try out for the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders? What should I do? So it's actually quite common for squads to have different styles. So for example, I truly believe, and this is my personal opinion, that the Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders have literally morphed their own style of dance. That's how it felt to me when I did it. I think it's more common now with some certain conferences and clinics, you'll learn that style. But to me, going in, being a traditional dancer, it was just like an eighth genre I've never experienced before. And so that was really cool too. I loved it. And that happened to work for me. I know that the Saints, I've seen half times where they're in jazz shoes and they're doing calypsos and Alice turns. And you do that with Cowboys for half times in certain situations, but most of it is their own unique style for most games. I'm trying to think. I think the Baltimore Ravens are more cheer prone, so I think they've had male cheerleaders and they stunt and tumble and do all of that. Don't quote me on that. I think it's them. But just kind of keeping an eye on that is really important for your happiness. So, maybe your squad or your home football team does a style that you're not comfortable with. Maybe try and venture out a little farther and see what other squads there are out there that might be a better fit. Same with NBA. NBA is completely different than NFL. So they have completely different styles. They usually are a little bit more diverse in what they do. You might do heels. That's more Casey's arena, but just picking up from some of the seminars we've done together, heels, hip hop, all jazz. I've seen jazz. I've seen pom. I've seen all these things. And you guys are living in a world where it's so easy to access. Go to YouTube. Just type in the cheerleading squad, what halftime you want to look up, and go from there. Also, pay attention to their look. So I know, Casey, if you tuned into the seminar on Monday, she did mention this, like Miami Heat is edgy. Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders is a little bit more, their nickname is America's Sweetheart. So just being basic. Yeah. So just kind of pay attention to that too. That's really important to make sure that you match and you're still yourself. So that's something to look for as far as figuring out what squad fits for you. Another thing you can do is the same thing. A lot of squads offer clinics, so if you have the opportunity to go. If not, again, you can pick up a lot of stuff. There's so many, formats and of ways to learn now. Some people offer pro cheer classes that are not affiliated with the team, so you can get in that. Maybe you know somebody to get that inside scoop, but all of that is really good. Pay attention to the uniform. Everyone's body is different and it's okay. They welcome diversity, but just make sure it's a flattering cut. If you know a certain cut of a top and that's what they wear all the time, it does not look good for you. It might be harder to make. I get a question a lot about the Cowboys cheerleaders for height, and I just don't want to forget. They are actually really flexible. I've been with girls who are almost barely over 5 foot and girls that are almost 6 foot. That doesn't necessarily matter. It just kind of depends on your look and your body type and all of that, and obviously your talent and how you carry yourself. So those are important. I'm trying to think. I kind of breezed through the tryout topic for Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders. If you've watched the show, it's pretty intense. It's the most intense I know of. I might be wrong. But it's really intense. The first round is improv. The second round is where you learn a portion of the kick line and then a combo that you'll have to demonstrate. And then you take a test that I was not prepared for on the whole world. It really is the whole world. It's about the game. It's about what's happening in the world. Nutrition questions. It was bad. It was bad for me, and they forgave me, thank God. But it was pretty brutal. And then the third round, you will do your solo, do that kick line again, the combo again, and then do an interview. My recommendation is if you failed your first test like me, that you try and memorize as many questions as you can so that when they ask them in your interview, you can answer them. Just side note. And then if you make it through that, you go through training camp for 2.5 months. So this is kind of what the show follows the whole time. So that process was pretty intense. You learn 40 dances. Some of them are really short, but still 40 different tags and sidelines and quarters like that every day. They make cuts almost every day to get down to a certain number. And then you make the team. And then the real journey starts. So that's that process. I know a lot of squads do a similar version, maybe even a training camp with it, but it's usually a lot shorter. It's not, 2 months. Trying to think of what else you need to know. It's really important to know whatever pro cheer team you're going out for, including college, really. You should know the sport that you're dancing at because it could be embarrassing if you don't. So make sure you at least know how the game works. Do they do halves? Do they do quarters? Do they do, I'm trying to think, touchdowns, 2-point, I don't know. I know nothing about basketball, free throw things, know things like that. That is important for you to follow the game. And they expect you to know because the fans are there to, be supportive of the squad, and they want to believe that you're just as invested in the sport as they are. So that's really important. Obviously know big players, who owns the team, who coaches the team, all of that stuff is pretty crucial. Trying to think, what else have I gotten asked? Very important to be comfortable in front of the camera. Okay. That took me a while to get used to, but it is important just because so much of it is media interaction, especially with DCC being on the show is important. Some people live for that. Others, have a harder time and are a little bit more shy. So just kind of getting comfortable with that. You could even practice with filming yourself, having questions and, all of that. So, film yourself, see how you react. to that. Hair and makeup, I think we already covered. Just practice. I was so clueless. I was the girl that I didn't even know filling in your eyebrows was a thing when I tried out for Cowboys. I kid you not. I did not know people actually did that. I just thought I had really thin eyebrows. And I mean, I was the girl that would wear mascara and face powder to a game, and bless the studio I trained at, hey, Carolina Dance Center, because I would never really fully do my makeup because I just was not into it. So that took me a while to practice. So if you can practice ahead of time, you know, you can always tune in for YouTube videos and all of that. Definitely do that. Always look polished, kind of match their look. And then a lot of squads, including college, they are really big into fitness. So make sure that, you know, you can keep up. Like, you can do push-ups and you can do crunches and you can run if you need to. All of that stuff is usually online, or you can follow through with a coach or a dance team member that you know for what that is. For Cowboys, we didn't have a specific regiment. They kind of just trusted us to do what was best for our body because everyone needs different things. So, for example, I wasn't a really good runner. I don't think that really helped with my overall physique look. So better workouts for me are usually yoga, Pilates, all of that. Others, they need to run. They need that cardio boost. So it just kind of depends on your body, but again, so different. Anyway, so let's talk about the fun stuff, pay. Okay. So you will need another job to do this. This is not going to financially support you through a whole year. So make sure that you have something that's flexible because your schedule is going to change a lot. You need to be available for the team, especially if you do a bigger squad. I know the Top Cats is a little bit more flexible, but the Cowboys, they want you to be able to commit as much as you can. You have to remember sports season is only part of the year to begin with. And then on top of that, for football, I think it's the same for NFL. You only do home games. So for NFL, there's 4 preseason games and then about 16 regular season games. And then there's playoffs and Super Bowl. You're only doing the home games of that. And then it depends. I mean, is your team going to playoffs? The only away game you'll do is Super Bowl. So, every year. And then NBA, I think they do like close to 100 games. It's a lot. Same with hockey. Hockey does a lot of games. So pay for games is not crazy. I mean, I know some squads that I think only pay $75-ish. That I might be lying, but it's really small, or it can go up to like $300, $350 a game. So you have that, and then appearances, you can make a little bit more money. I know for Cowboys, it goes up every year that you're on the squad. So your first rookie year, you may not be making that much, and then by the time you get to 5 or 6, you're making a good chunk of change for these appearances where you're signing autographs or taking pictures. Sometimes they're performance appearances. That's what the China trip was. And we did a USO tour in Seoul, in Canada. And so that helps a little bit. I think the same thing with NBA. You get paid a little bit more depending on how long you've been on the team. So I feel like I got a lot. So that's kind of it. So just be prepared for that and that commitment, and find someone that you can work for that understands that this is a dream of yours and can be flexible with your work schedule. So all right. So I would love to open it up for questions now. If you have any at all, feel free. I'm seriously an open book. There's not a stupid question. It's always better to be prepared. I'm here for it. Or if you have a comment or anything like that, please shout it out. While we're waiting for those questions to come through, I just wanted to remind you guys that there will be a class posted at 8 p.m. tonight. So tune in for that. Especially if you just want to dance. It's really not hard. I think there's like one pirouette in it, but it can be a single or balance or whatever you want to do. And then, yeah, and it's just pretty easy. We'll play the music, I'll break it down, it'll be fun. I'll give you some pointers on how to stand out at tryouts and all that. So, okay, here are some questions. How would you suggest to prepare for the paper test at DCC? Girl, just know you're not going to get 100. Okay. It's just impossible. It's just so much information. I think the biggest thing what I did my second year, once I kind of had a wrap on it, is know all the important people of who run the Cowboys. So Jerry Jones, Charlotte Jones Anderson, obviously know Kelly and Judy, guys from the show. It's really not hard. You know, if you don't know them, you need to know them. Know those people, players. So we even had to go as far as know who draft picks were, like what round they went on, what school they came from, definitely know the position, know all the main coaches. That's really important. These are the questions that'll get you an interview because you should know. Trying to think of what else. Know how many points each penalty is, or, you know, anything scoring, how many players are on the field. Just know basic stuff. If you can first of all, if you don't know anything about football, type in football 101. Okay. Get all of that information. As far as the world stuff, just keep on the news. I mean, right now it's brutal with the coronavirus and all of that. But try and maybe find some other topics. It's an election year, so trying to keep up with that. Who is in office right now? Who might be going into office? Know basic Texas history, like are they Republican, Democratic, who's governing, all of that stuff. Trying to think of what else. Nutrition, that one's hard. That was a hard one for me just because I don't know how many calories are in a slice of cheese. I think that was literally a question on it. Is it like 100? I don't know. So kind of bearing with it, but definitely know some main pointer ones. I'm trying to think of what else you could know for the test, but I just didn't really know key names or, you know, I knew who was on the field currently, like Tony Romo was still playing. Jason Witten was still playing when I was on the squad. But as far as incoming prospects, I didn't really know that at all. So kind of keeping up with that as much as you can. I would start now so you're not cramming, because it is not all multiple choice or true or false. It is fill in the blank. Okay. So try and just get acclimated, leave on Sports Center. They might even ask you about other sports. I think there's questions about award shows. So if anyone interesting got a Oscar or all of that, definitely try and keep up with that. So all the things. Just know, don't beat yourself up if there's questions you don't know. It's all right. Sorry, my dog is trying to make an appearance right now. Bless him. Okay, let me scroll back up. Okay. Did DCC give you guys any diets? No, they didn't. They did not. What they did, and it may have changed since by the way, with pay, they get minimum wage for practice now. Not when I was on the team, but they do now. Just wanted to say that before I forgot. So diet. So what they did when I was on the team is your third round, you would be weighed. So whatever your weight was, they would make note of it. So then once you got into training camp, we'd get notes every week. So in a certain column, it would say, this is the weight that you auditioned at. And then there would be another little column that was kind of like where you need to be based on your height. And then there was like one that you're at now. So we would weigh in almost every week, if not every week. So basically it's kind of a free for all as long as you keep up how you looked at tryouts, or if they've told you to tighten things, to do that. So again, that squad is very understanding that everyone's body is different and we're shaped different, and they want you to look your best in your body. So that's why diets are not really enforced. At least that's how it was when I was on the team. Where did you work while I was a DCC? I actually got an amazing job at a dance studio in Highland Park. Hey, Highland Park Dance Company in Texas. It was in Dallas, the city of Dallas. They were so awesome. I became really good friends with the owner, and she was super understanding of this being important to me. I mean, she knew from the get-go that I moved from North Carolina to Texas to do this and have this dream. And so she was super flexible with me. I will say, being a dance teacher, it was really hard because obviously your classes are at night, and during the week your practices are at night. And the Cowboys, when I was on it, was Monday through Friday, especially at the beginning of the season and during training camp. So it was hard, but she was awesome. She worked with me. She let me do office work a little bit earlier in the day to make a little bit more money. I did private lessons. And I started choreographing a little bit, doing master classes when I was home. So all of that helped. How difficult or easy was the transition going from college dance team to pro? I feel like it was, I feel like it was better than not having college dance team experience, especially once I realized how well I understood formations in the field, and all of that. I think that was really crucial. So that part was easier. I think understanding how to work within a team atmosphere made it a lot easier, versus someone who maybe had done solos and that was it. Just because you have to practice looking like everybody else, which is so hard because part of you in the tryout process, you need to stand out, but you also need to be blendable for the sake of the group. So I would say it was fairly easy. I mean, I think the hardest part was just, you're an adult. Like, college, you're an adult, but when you get out of college and you're doing a pro cheer team, you are an adult. Like, you're grown up. Like, you're like mom and dad, taking care of your stuff. So I think that was a little hard, just, trying to pay for your own bills and doing that. But yeah, I would say it's better. I would highly recommend it if you are thinking about doing a pro cheer team and you're going to college. Try and do dance team in college, because you'll learn so much, and just working under a coach and different choreography and doing a sporting event, that's all really crucial. So highly recommend it. Definitely makes it easier. What is the test about? So all the things. So the actual game of football, we had stadium questions, like where was the party pass, which was like a deck that we could go, where spectators could go for a cheaper ticket and just have standing room, how big the Jumbotron was in the middle of the field, nutrition, world events, things that are happening in pop culture, all of that. It's so fun. I still have anxiety. Like, I'm sweating even talking about it. It was so hard. But it's okay. Just if you don't answer it right, then go back and learn the answer, and it's better leave it blank than say something that is completely not even in the realm, and then you have to explain yourself. So just own it when you don't know it. What is really important that would have to be really prepared for? That you would really have to be prepared for. All the things. I mean, I think for me, having a little bit of an anxiety issue, I think just mental toughness, I think was hard. And I didn't even have it that bad. I feel like they were very supportive of me. Kelly and Judy especially were really supportive of me. I got really great feedback, but I think just the pressure of going into audition the first time with 500 girls, not really knowing what I was doing, in a sense, like I didn't really know what I was signing up for, and just kind of dealing with the fact that you could get cut every day. That's a lot to know that, you're putting in all this effort, you've moved halfway across the country, and you could get cut, and that dream could be over for that year. I think that was the hardest part for me to stay sane and be like, not put everyone else's things on me. Like, well, this girl got cut, I might get cut. Or, they want us to work out, so I need to work out harder, or whatever it may be. That would probably be the hardest, but everyone's different. It might be, hey, maybe you're a little bit farther on your technique. Work on technique. Work on your stretching. You have to kick for the cowboys. So I think it kind of depends, like, where you are, but I think having a thick skin and not taking everything personally, and not getting wrapped up in everything going on around you and just kind of focusing on your goal, and taking the feedback in a positive way. I think that's probably the hardest thing, because you get a lot of feedback. Trying to see what else. Since most campuses have closed, their dance team tryouts are being held through video submissions. Any tips on how to stand out in your video? Yes. I have judged quite a few college dance team auditions. Holler at NC State, yes. And we do watch video submissions when I've been a part of that, and we are always shocked about how they're put together. The more polished it is, if you put in that extra effort to make it look polished and clean, we do notice that stuff. Also, if you kind of are stumbling out of turn, and maybe that's just where your turn is and that's the cleanest you can get it, that's one thing. But just know, with a video submission, just honest, just real talk right now, we're looking at that video like that was your best run of it. So that is the best leap you can do. That is the best turn. You had plenty of time to do multiple takes. We don't know if you're doing multiple takes or if that was just like a one and done. But in my advice, do as many takes as you need to hit this correctly or at your best ability, because that's what we're judging, and we're going to judge probably a little bit more critically, knowing that it wasn't just you have one shot, show us what you got kind of thing. Make sure you have all the requirements. If there's any segment of choreography that they want you to copy for the video, make sure that you're paying attention to the details. Really try and match whoever that dancer that's, showcasing the choreography, look like them as much as you can. I will say freshmen, I think, have it a little easier coming in just because they're new and they have 4 years to kind of get it. If you're a little bit farther along in your college journey, it is a little harder to make just because they don't have a lot of time to kind of mold you the way they want you to. So that's just kind of my experience, especially as a judge, when I see a video, and I've been with other people on panel that say the same thing. They want to see, if you are sending a video, you have plenty of time to do it to your best ability. And so we're going to see like that's the best you can do at that point. So I hope I answered your question. Definitely do your makeup and hair, wear a flattering outfit that works for your body. Make sure it looks good on camera. Yeah, I feel like and try, if you can splice it so it's really close together, I would recommend that too, so that we're not kind of watching you reset for every skill. Oh, hey Joel, you're so welcome. Oh, thank you, and I love seeing all these people. Ways to improve stamina, get through the games. Man, it's hard. It's hard. That's a really good question. I think it depends on how you naturally are stamina-wise. For example, I could get up to 2 miles running, and it will not, for me, prepare me for a game. It's better for me to run dances over and over and over again. So like that's what I would do when I was training through training camp or even before. And it wasn't even necessarily to get to games, but just to kind of not look tired as I was dancing. I think that worked the best for me. So I would take a piece of choreography and do it twice back to back, and then take maybe like a 15-second break and then do it again. And then 15-second break, do it again. Just because that's kind of how a game is. You're going hardcore for a certain amount of time, and then after that you are waiting, and then you have to go hardcore, and then you're waiting, and then hardcore, and then you're waiting. And so that's kind of hard on your body to do, but yeah, that's my recommendation. But some people really benefit from running, so kind of play with it and see what works for you, because again, everyone's different. Oh my gosh, I'm like so flattered. You guys are asking me so many questions. So why did they test you on so many random things? It's because when you get to appearances, you never know who you're going to interact with, or if they need you to interact with an executive or someone who's in the political field, they want to see how you handle yourself, and to see if you can answer it, if you're relevant. So if they're asking you who the president is, and you're like, I'm not sure, that's probably not going to be a good look for the organization. They want smart, intelligent, talented women, which I really commend. And then same thing with the fans. They want to make sure you know about the sport, because the fans most of the time are really there for the game and that team, and they want that camaraderie with you, that you are invested with the team just as much as they are. So I can't imagine if I was on appearance and someone came up to me and they're like, man, that Tony Romo. And I'm like, who's Tony Romo? Can you imagine? Oh my gosh. Yeah. So that's why they do it, just to kind of see how you handle yourself. And the more you know, and the better conversations you can have, and the more you can interact with people. So I totally get why they do it. Doesn't mean it's not hard. It's hard. I get it. But yeah, so that's why just brace yourself. And if you miss stuff, then just look it up, research it, and be prepared the next time. Okay. How do you improve your skills? That's a good one. Improve your dance skills. I would say get in class. Try to mimic their choreography. Stretch. Work on your technique. You never know what you're going to need. So the more you have, the better. I think as far as camera practice, I would just practice talking into one. So maybe pretend like this is CMT's making the team and this is your interview, and have someone ask you a question and then you answer it. So you'd never look directly at the camera, you'd look off camera to that person, but just kind of watch what your body naturally does in that sense, or film yourself during a conversation, or maybe even ask like advice. So if you have certain mannerisms that you do when you are talking, maybe ask your friends, like, have you picked up on any weird habits? Like, I didn't know that sometimes I talk out of the side of my mouth when I'm talking to people, so that's something to be aware of. Or maybe I talk too fast, which I'm sure there's been points where I've talked too fast on here. I just get so excited. But yeah, so that all helps. It's just kind of the awareness of knowing. Definitely being able to pick up choreography comes from taking class a lot. So plug these combos that CDI is posting. No matter what the style is, you never know what they're going to throw at you. I've taken a contemporary class on camera for making the team for DCC. I've taken hip hop. I've done their style. You never know. So the more aware you are of picking up choreography, the better. So all those things can help you prepare for it. And if you know what your body needs to work on, because that's the name of the game, guys, is they have certain looks. They want you to look fit. Work on that now. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, MK. Do you have any tips for picking up choreography as fast as possible? Yes. So when I teach, I try and channel this game. So what I'll do is, if I know I have a group that has a hard time picking up choreography, is I'll teach a full 8, and then I won't repeat it. I'll ask them to show me it. So I'll be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I'll turn around and they'll have to do it. So it's kind of like a memory game, because I feel like if you feel like you're bad at picking up choreography, it's just hard for you to just get out of that mindset. So if you kind of treat it like a memory game of like taking 1 8 count at a time, you'll be surprised how much better your body will pick it up, because it kind of can just tunnel vision in what you're doing. So I would recommend that. I'm gonna kind of do a similar teaching style tonight for the video for that, where I'll teach it in 8s and then I'll do it again, and so you can kind of practice and see how much you can pick up in that 8. And then honestly, just taking classes, as many classes as you can. That's really the only way, is just to practice picking up choreography. And that will help you do it fast. Do many NFL or NBA teams host clinics? Yes. Not sure about NBA. I'm not very familiar with that. NFL does, Cowboys Cheerleaders does, Top Cats does. I think the Falcons do that. Trying to think of what else. Yeah, so I think if you just kind of research it, definitely do that. keep an eye out for people who are hosting pro cheer classes in your area. I know I've talked about that for a long time, doing a pop-up. We'll figure it out one of these days, maybe. Yeah, so just Google it. But yeah, absolutely. Did you work with any DCC alumni before auditioning? I did not. I did not work with anybody. I went in blind to everything, which is good. Again, anxiety girl. It's almost better for me not to be as prepared. I think I would have psyched myself out a little bit because it's overwhelming. But I didn't for the first 3 rounds. And then my friend Lauren, who was on the team, we weren't friends before. We met in training camp. She was a vet. I think it was her 3rd year on the team, maybe 2nd. But she really took me under her wing and saw that I had potential, thank goodness, and just worked with me and told me what I needed to work on. So we met like almost every day at practice. So I was kind of her like little sister on the team. So that's as far as I went, but I got to training camp not knowing anybody. Met a couple girls throughout the way, but no one who I'd worked with. It wasn't till Lauren kind of took me under her wing and kind of helped fine tune the way I looked. So I would match the squad because I was a little bit soft as a dancer from all that ballet, but I think I got the hang of it a little bit. Okay. You said DCC had its kind of own style. What was that style like? That one's always really hard. It's like, think the top half has the precision of jazz, but then the bottom half is like power hitting, like a little bit of hip hop, but still light on your feet. I don't know. I mean, it's one of those, it's so hard to explain. I would say if I was explaining it, you need to be powerful, you need to be strong, and you need to dance big. And I think it's a fine line because some people take that too crazy and they tend to look spastic and out of control or too bouncy. But yeah, I would say that. They definitely like technique. Like a clean double goes a long way. A clean bottom out, you have to be able to kick. They're known for their kick line. But if you're interested in the style, I'm going to do a similar style tonight. So again, tune in for a class and you'll see what I'm talking about.